It's not every day you have a deer grow to be a buck larger than life. But when you do, the work starts.
Set up, and his deer he calls Mr. Nice Guy. We're a mile and a half away now from the original spot.
And you prepare to spend all fall for that one glimpse.
It's a big deer, buddy.
Deer hunting is different for everyone. We all have our reasons why we get up and head out. For some it's a tradition, for some a hobby, a pastime, or a lifestyle, maybe an obsession, or just to be outdoors enjoying nature. And for many, it's generational. For us, it's a love of deer, watching them, historians curating the lives of giants, and the challenge of perfecting a craft. Regardless of the why, we all share one thing. We all hit in with a common hope, a common dream, that all of our reasons why, everything that we've done in the deer woods to this point, may put us in the path of a legend.
Is a true giant.
Stealth Cam presents Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail, brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Monster Meal, attraction, nutrition, results. Excalibur crossbow, different for a reason. Heater bodysuit, #1 in cold weather hunting gear. New archery products, hunt with confidence. Bog, engineered for the unknown. Hoyman, your land, your legacy. Muddy, serious gear for serious hunters. Glendale 3D Targets, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the world. Nocturnal lighted nocks, switch on accuracy and let it glow. Hunter Specialties, serious hunting tools. Boyd's hardwood gun stocks, better with Boyd's. Raculator, score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. Old timer knives, built for generations. And by Stealth Cam, proven reliability, proven quality, proven performance.
The value in letting deer go, letting those younger bucks walk so they can grow, can be hard to see sometimes, until it's not. Until all your hard work and your patience pay off, and that's exactly what happened for Darbie Koshman this year, on a buck that he'd passed the previous 2 seasons.
A new buck in a new spot. In 2018, he didn't show any great potential, but in 2019, he sure did. A deer many would target. However, with that much growth in just 1 season, Darbie decided to try his luck at letting the deer walk and hopefully surviving another year. Darbie picked back up on him in June 2020 and watched him through the summer. And in late July, boy did he jump. And when August came, it was apparent the deer was tremendous, huge. And Darbie and Ryan were going in to get set up. A well-brushed in blind can make all the difference. In our experience, when you think it's brushed in enough, that means you're about halfway there. Also accounting for the fact that in the first week, the leaves will all shrink. After putting out some monster meal and setting up a stealth cam at the new blind, Darbie and Ryan would leave, letting the area calm down. And when they returned, the buck was right there. Huge beams, mass, tines, a dream deer. And now Darbie just had to wait for the October 1st crossbow season start. But things would change long before that.
This segment has been brought to you by the Heater Bodysuit. The Heater Bodysuit is the ultimate cold weather hunting garment that allows you to stay on stand longer and sit comfortably. The Heater Bodysuit. You stay warm or your money back. Canadian Whitetail is also brought to you by Central Boiler Outdoor Furnaces, the ultimate wood heat. Black Eagle Arrows, advanced carbon technology. Block Archery Targets, the world's #1 archery target. Tacticam, share your hunt. Wild Edge, the ultimate climbing system. Cyclops lights, get out of the dark. And by Hawk and the new Hawk Down and Out hybrid blinds. This segment is brought to you by Heumann and the new no-slip H-grip on their full line of tools. Best-in-class tools for every application. Heumann, your land, your legacy.
Darbie and Ryan have been all set up on the buck they call Mr. Nice Guy, but an early elk season brought many hunters into the area, pushing the deer out. But based on his history with the deer, Darbie had a good idea where the deer might end up. But now, with the season already here, they didn't want to waste time putting up a trail camera to check for the buck and then going in to get set up, so they headed in to do a full setup, just to ensure that if he was right, if that's where the buck was, they'd be ready.
Just with Darbie here, we're doing another setup on his deer he calls Mr. Nice Guy. We had been set up on him earlier in the summer. That spot kind of got burnt out, blown up by some elk hunters and such, but we're 1.5 miles away now from the original spot and reset up, so hopefully in a week we got some pictures of him here daylighting, and yeah, hopefully Darbie gets a chance at him.
Having as much history and past information as possible is key on these deer. And when returning to check his stealth cam, that proves true, as the buck is there, in daylight, and the season was on. A few last practice shots, and Darbie was ready to hunt.
We just got in the blind here. It's day 1 of the new setup for Darbie's deer here, so we got in nice and early, so hopefully he shows up in good light. He's been daylighting here quite often here the last while, so it's looking good. We got some other nice bucks in here too that come fairly early, so hopefully that helps us out.
With something spooking this young buck early on, about an hour later another deer emerges. This wide young up-and-comer that almost looks like a miniature of Darbie's target buck. A great-looking deer, well worthy of keeping an eye on. However, that would be all Darbie would see on his day 1.
Second set here at this new spot. Hopefully tonight.
Early again today, another young deer with amazing potential. This mainframe 9 with a small drop on the right side. Again, Darbie's day 2 would pass without seeing the Mr. Nice Guy buck, but what a night just getting to watch this gorgeous deer.
This segment has been brought to you by Nocturnal Lighted Nocks. String activated, Simple. Switch on accuracy and let it glow. Nocturnal Lighted Nocks. This segment of Canadian Whitetail has been brought to you by Bog. More than just a shooting rest. Bog. Engineered for the unknown.
Another night here. Last night was uneventful for the one we're after, Mr. Nice Guy, but saw a nice up-and-comer yesterday evening and waited out. Hopefully get lucky tonight.
Tonight, Darbie wouldn't be on stand very long before the deer started to move. The first being this yearling fixated on something to their left. Just 40 minutes into the sit, the buck continues to stare. Darbie looks over, and there he sees what has the young fellow's attention. It's Darbie's huge target buck, Mr. Nice Guy. What an incredible deer, and a shining example of what can happen when you give a good deer a chance to become a great deer. Well within range, Darbie just waits for the buck to step his shoulder ahead. Making what looked like a great shot, though slightly quartering towards, the giant stands in the brush, and just when he starts to wobble and they expect him to go down, he seems to gather himself and walks off.
Got him, buddy. That was Mr. Nice Guy. Shot looked good, eh? Yeah, that was good. I think I hit him square. He went at 20 yards into the bush there. Stopped, stood there for a bit, and then just kind of carried on another 10 yards and lost sight of him when he got into the trees. Gonna give him some time and then go in and have a look for some blood.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Muddy Outdoors.
This week's tip is a little bit more strategic. It's something we covered years ago, but it comes up quite often, so we're going to go over it again, and that's where to set up. Once you've found that spot, once you've kind of honed in on that buck, where to actually finally put your setup on that deer that you're after. And here is one of our favorite kind of spots to set up. It's a channel, this gorgeous channel here leading out, and it leads straight out to the south to a beautiful alfalfa field. We know what buck's here. We know that we want to target that buck this year. It's the time of year that we want to get set up. So where are we going to do it? On this channel. And where we set up, one of the biggest factors, believe it or not, is going to be the predominant wind direction. And it's got nothing to do with scent control, rather with deer movement itself. This channel runs north and south, straight out to a gorgeous alfalfa field, so we can set up on either side of that channel without too much worry. But there's going to be one side that's much better than the other, and that's how those deer are going to feel comfortable moving. So here, in the fall, the predominant wind is northwest. It's not northwest every day, but that's most often the wind it is. So if you take note when you watch deer walk down a channel or walk through a bowl, which are our favorite places to set up, that deer's always going to walk on the off-wind side. For deer, it's all about survival, and their biggest risk of survival is when they're moving. So when they're moving, they want to make sure they have everything in their advantage. So if a deer is moving down a channel that runs north to south, he's going to walk on one side or the other based on what gives him the best odds of detecting any kind of predator or human that's there. And he's going to do that by walking on the off-wind side. So if a deer is walking down this channel and the wind is out of the northwest, that means the wind is going to be crossing from my right to my left. He's going to walk on this side of the channel because it's going to give him this buffer zone that he can smell any predators over there. And walking along this edge, the edge that he can't smell from, he's going to be able to see. So that's going to make him feel safer. So if you watch a buck and how he travels, most often they're going to travel on the downwind side of those channels. So it's kind of an odd little tip, but it's extremely useful because a lot of people like us that love to set up in those channels and bowls, it can be confusing on kind of which end at that pinch point, which end of that channel to set up, and which side that deer's going to walk down. So regardless if you're using an attractant, if you're using an ozonics or not, regardless of your scent control practices, that deer is most often going to walk on that downwind side. So that's the side we're going to want to set up on because that's going to give us our closest shot at that buck, regardless of how we're hunting them. And that's your Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment for the week.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Muddy Outdoors. Share your own muddy moment. This segment is brought to you by AAE. Innovation and integrity is in our blood. Quality and dependability is in our products.
Early on just day 3, Darbie's target buck had made an appearance. And Darbie takes what looks to be a great shot.
Well, it's been about half hour, 40 minutes. We're just gonna go have a look at the arrow with Darbie here and then see what we got for blood and decide what we're gonna do. Tons of blood. Good blood, yeah. I think he's in trouble. Yeah, for sure.
Confident, they take up the trail but quickly cover ground and lose blood. And make that terribly hard but right decision to back out until the morning.
So last night, shot looked good. We followed the blood for a little bit and decided to come back in the morning. And it looks like he went down into the creek here. So we're gonna follow it up.
Well, we did make it to the creek like we thought. It's a big deer, buddy.
Look at him.
Well, congratulations, Darbie.
Thanks, buddy.
Beautiful buck. You know, like we said, he was a mile and a half to the south here. Kind of got bumped out by some elk hunters. Decided to move to where he actually wintered last year. He was back on camera within a week of the setup, and of course he was daylighting. So came in for Darbie here last night. Perfect light. We were maybe sitting for 40 minutes. Had a small buck come in, and this guy was not far behind him, so strolled right in, and Darbie made a good shot, but we decided to back out. So good thing we did, and he made it a little ways, and he did make it to the creek like we thought he was gonna do, but he didn't quite make her across here. So
Yeah, it's sure nice. 3 years of history with this guy. I have one of his sheds from 2 years ago, and been on him all year except for that little hiccup in September.
Yep.
And caught up with him again and closed the chapter, I guess. Another good year for us. Last year was a good year for us, and another good year for us this year. And we put in the time, and it pays off.
yeah, a lot of work chasing these big guys. Glad I could have been with you there last night.
Yeah.
I was done hunting a few weeks ago, and I'd come help Darbie film a little bit, and it worked out. So congrats again on a great deer, and hopefully it's not the last for us.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Sure is bittersweet though. Won't see him on the camera anymore, but be nice in the game room.
Well, you have to give credit where credit's due, and these boys are really doing it. Darbie and Ryan have amassed a collection of trophy whitetails seldom seen, and they've put in every hour of work to earn it. Congratulations, Darbie, on another fantastic deer. And thanks for watching this week's episode of Canadian Whitetail.
This segment is brought to you by Wild Edge, makers of the ultimate climbing system, the Step Ladder. Safely design your climb in any tree with the most versatile, lightweight, and compact climbing system, the Step Ladder. To book your own dream hunt in northern Saskatchewan, please contact us at Canadian Whitetail Outfitters. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by these fine sponsors. For exclusive content, follow Dean and the team on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Whitetail Dean. To view all past and present episodes of Canadian Whitetail, as well as new original content, visit us on our YouTube and Carbon TV channels. For Canadian Whitetail gear and apparel, visit CanadianWhitetailTV.com.